Good morning. Welcome in. Thanks for joining. Let me get my treadmill started here. How's everyone this morning? Welcome in. Hey, Pickle Pie, how are you? Welcome, everybody. Please read the show notes. So, this is my normal Tuesday morning walk and talk chat, seller chat. Anyone is welcome that wants to learn about selling on Whatnot or just chat or whatever. I just get on my treadmill Tuesday and Thursday mornings, and I'm here to answer questions, guide you, show you where to get resources for information and help. And so, yeah, if you have any questions, put them in chat with a question mark. And please read the show notes and screenshot, if you're new to me, all of those starred bullets that are in the show notes. So the starred bullets are the official places where you can go to get help on Whatnot, such as the Whatnot seller account, Whatnot's YouTube account, the Seller Academy, help.whatnot.com, or frequently asked questions. And there are two other starred bullets in there, the blog and the Whatnot Hub meetups website, where you can go and find out about local events that might be happening in your area. So, welcome in. I switched this at the last second from a community show to a quilting sewing fabric, since that's the main category that I sell in, just to see if you know it would change who wants to come into these shows. Meryl King, what's the policy on cancellations? Is it a seller preference? Um, well, basically, if you um, receive a request to cancel, it's up to you, but the customer may push it through to customer service and force a cancellation if they approve it. So, but yes, it's really up to you. And if obviously, if you make a mistake, then you need to own up to it and provide good customer service. But if it's just someone arbitrarily saying, I don't, I accidentally bid, haha, or, something lame like that, it's up to you whether you want to accept it or not. So you can just decide case by case. Good morning, like it, swipe it. How are you today? Thanks for joining, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. So we got rain all day yesterday, and it's raining today. Is everybody else getting rain? It's gloomy, but we need it. So it's hard to complain. So, yeah, I mean, cancellations, if you're not already on the program where you handle your own customer service and you would like to be, please message customer service and say, I want to be able to do my own customer service. And I think that's important, because if you're not able to, or if you're not doing that, then you have no say. Someone can just request a refund through customer service without even them contacting you. They can just take the customer's word for it and, do a refund or whatever. So make sure you are, and the way that you would know is if they contact you first through customer service. Customer service says you have a request, and then you handle it through your end. That's how you kind of know. I don't know if they rolled it out to everybody. That was the plan. So if they haven't and you still don't have that, contact them and say, I want to do my own customer service. It seems a little bit scary, but honestly, it's so much better than them just arbitrarily refunding people, or, you know, doing other things like that without your input. Because if you don't have any say, then you can get, some scammers who just take advantage of you. So, it's better to handle your own customer service and have the opportunity, if you did screw up, to make it right with your customer. Or if you feel like they're just trying to take advantage of you, you can, you know, work through it with them. And if they're not reasonable, then you can turn it over to customer service. So make sure you figure out what status you're in. And like I said, the way you would tell is if when someone clicks on get help with an order, it comes to you first in your messages, in that section in your messages for customer service. And you do need to check that regularly and make sure if you're getting any messages, because it's in that separate section of your email, your message system, where it is whatnot customer service, and then there's how it shows up separate. Z Deborah, am I saying that right? Let me see. Z Deborah, I had a customer an order refunded that I received, and now I'm going to tip her to give it back. Let's see. I received. Oh, so something got lost in the mail. You got refunded, and then you ended up getting it. So you're going to give her a tip to give it back. Oh, that's nice of you. Most people probably wouldn't do that. So that's very kind of you to give the seller her money back since you ended up getting the item. Yeah. How do you select which one you want to do? How do you pick self customer service? You have to message whatnot customer service and let them know that you want to do your own customer service. There's nowhere to put just like pick that you want to do it. I thought they were rolling it out to everybody, but they haven't, I guess, fully done it. So, oh, they shouldn't have refunded it. Well, I think after a certain point, if it shows lost in the mail, I mean, there's a certain waiting period where they try to see if it'll show up, or so it sounds like they accidentally refunded, huh? Yeah, it happens. So I do, my heart goes out to the people working for whatnot in customer service right now, because it's a beast. And if you listened to the interview with the CEO, their goal is to get some kind of phone service for us. But they've just grown so fast and furious that it's hard for them to keep up with just the basics. And jobs like that, I'll be honest with you, it is hard to find employees for customer service right now. People just don't love that job, and I kind of don't blame them. So they have to really work hard to find people who are willing to do those jobs and do them well. So my heart goes out. So be kind to, I know it's frustrating that we don't have better, access and better customer service, but be kind, because just think about the people that are actually doing that job. And I think whatnot probably pays better than most, but it's kind of a thankless job, right? Alyssa says, I have a package that says label created, but it's already been delivered to the buyer. I have a message into whatnot. Hopefully they can fix it. Yeah, you might have to have the customer send you a pic, just have them take a quick snapshot of the package or of the item and show proof that it did get delivered so that they can mark it delivered. It's been an issue lately for sure. So here's what you guys need to do. My best advice do the in-app scanning. Okay. Do the in-app scanning before you take it to the post office. And then if you have a post office that is notorious in your area for not scanning, go to the counter. If you don't have too many packages, go to the counter and have them scan in your packages. It will be worth it. But definitely do the in-app scanning. That's where you open your app, go to Seller Hub Fulfillment, scan each package right before you take it to the post office or in the parking lot or in the lobby or whatever. Do the in-app scanning. That is what they are relying on right now. You all got a message. That is what they count as the most important way to show that you sent your packages. So use that in-app scanner. The scan sheets and then relying on the post office to scan it apparently are not as they're towards your scan health, shipping on time in your account is you need that in-app scanner to show the best accuracy. So do that. And it really doesn't take that much time. It's just a real quick, it's really sensitive. It picks them up fast. I usually can get through, up to about 50 orders in just a few minutes. So yeah, use it. It works. It's accurate. It shows that you've printed the label. It's on the package and you're ready to drop it off. So please do that. Let me see. I think I missed something here. Karen says, I always ship within 24 hours. My percentage keeps going down. I have post office scan and get a receipt every time. Yeah. So that's the answer, Karen, is you've got to do that pre-home, at home, or in the parking lot or in the post office in-app scanning. That's what they are using as the initial, you shipped the package. And but you can message if it's, because if you're going into the post office and having them scan, here's the thing about that. If your post office is not the regional post office, like where it goes after your post office, that scan in your post office is actually just the initial scan to show that it was received. And they get credit for receiving the package, but it is not the scan that starts the tracking. It doesn't get scanned for tracking until it hits the regional place that it goes on the next step. And so that in-app scanner is what they're using as really the kind of final, because if you're going to a rural or a hub, a sub post office, I don't know what they call them, and it's not the main post office where everything ends up in your area, that initial scan is just the receipt, which is the same difference as the fulfillment one that you do. So, no, but do as much as you can to prove, but that in-app scanner is what they're really relying on. So definitely do that one. And it really doesn't take that much time, like I said. Good morning. What goes around? How are you? So yeah, that's why it's going down. So everybody start using that. And it's not really technically going to affect you until May, in the sense that they're not going to like start giving you notices or anything. They're just, so read your email that you got about it. So it doesn't count against you. They're just showing how it's going to affect you if you don't use it. I've been using the in-app scanner since they released it. Because they said that was going to be the end all be all of, showing that you dropped off shipped packages. So start using that. Yeah, and you just lay out your packages in a row and just sit there and go bloop, bloop, bloop from one to the next. It's super fast. You could, but you're supposed to do it right before you take them. So don't make the mistake of, maybe you ship in the evening and then you don't take them to the post office till the next day. Don't do the in-app scan until right before you take them. So, like, I shipped a show last night and I'm going to take them to the post office this morning. So I will do that in-app scanning right before I leave for the post office. Okay. What goes around said I had a package of about 15 orders that the customer said they received, but there's no tracking what not refunded her. I sent all of that information. Yeah. So reach out to the customer, have her message you or message them with the order number and tell them that she did get it, and they'll go in and show that it did deliver. And I don't know how they'll do it, but they should, if she did get it, you should get your money back somehow. Yeah. Oh, it's been months now. Oh, that's too bad. So they refunded her. Yeah. Yeah. That's why do your own customer service, because then they can't automatically refund your customers without talking to you. So message customer service and say, I want to handle my own customer service. So the in-app scanning is somewhat new. It came out about, what do you guys think? 6 months ago, maybe a little longer ago. So it's not super new, but compared to the history of it's newer. Yeah. So, and you're just on your mobile device. I'll show you how to do it. So on your mobile device, you just go to Seller Hub. So, in fact, see this coming up on have you guys seen this come up on your device? This isn't the device I use usually. This is my iPad, but it's telling you account metrics have been updated. Learn more, go read it. But anyway, you just go to the little 3-bar menu and then fulfillment. See that fulfillment right there? Click that. And then if you have some orders that need to be scanned, this is going to pop up. Scan to confirm drop off. And then it brings up the little scanner screen and you can start scanning your packages. Okay, so that's just Seller Hub fulfillment under that 3-bar menu. Hey, Burner Nut, how are you? What goes around says I print the post office manifest paper. I'm assuming the post office doesn't have to scan each that way. That's true. But I would still use the in-app scanner, because what they're telling you is the scan sheets, having the post office scan it, those are all going to be considered a secondary confirmation to the in-app scanner. Use the in-app scanner. So if you want to do the scan sheet, that's fine. If you want to take them to the counter and have them scan them in, that's fine. But do that in-app scanner, because it takes a picture of the package. It has proof that you put the label on a package and you're getting ready to send it. So that they're saying that they're going to count that as more accurate towards showing that you are fulfilling the order. Okay. So make sure you're using that. Let's see. Any other questions, things that you guys want to talk about, just put them in chat and I'll try and get you answered. Twisty Shenanigans says any input on the rise in spin to win shows, isn't it gambling? If they schedule their show under the category, or not the category, the auction type as surprise sets instead of auction, and they follow all the rules exactly, then it isn't considered gambling. But if they don't follow the rules exactly and they don't have their show scheduled under surprise sets versus regular auction, then yes, and it is against the rules, it is against terms of service, and if they keep doing it, they will get possibly banned. So they have to make sure they're complying with all of the terms of service about how you do surprise set shows. As a buyer, you need to decide if you are going to participate in those kinds of shows. If they bother you, don't participate flat out, because it is a risk game. You are, buying a place to possibly win a certain prize. And if you don't like that, don't participate. So there are some sellers who are doing those types of shows. Here's what I will tell you. If they have their show scheduled under that category, it doesn't show up in the regular schedule lineup. You have to have bookmarked it or gone and found it, because they are kind of not favoring those types of shows because they do have a lot of problems with them. So it's more like whoever wants to participate in that knows what it's about and goes and participates. A lot of people love it. It is very much similar to going to play bingo or going to, um, you know, I can't really say gambling, because if they're following all the rules, it's technically not gambling, but it is definitely a game of chance, right? So, yeah. And if you are in a show and they're doing some kind of mystery game, and it's pretty obvious that they didn't have their show scheduled as a surprise set show, that is against terms of service. They should not be doing mystery sets or surprise sets or bundles that you don't see on screen, because the rules are very particular to the point that I avoid anything even close to that, because when you read the rules, it kind of makes your brain hurt, first of all. And so I don't even exactly know how you know if you're within the guidelines, because it's very confusing, in my opinion. So, yeah, and it gets very expensive because you're buying into, a game of chance. Yes, too much gray area. So, that is what it is. But there's a lot of people who love to go, play bingo or go play poker with their friends or go to the casinos and play, what's that, Keno or something, So, it's entertainment. It's a form of entertainment. Some people have the time, have the money, have the patience. It's not for me. It's probably not for you. If it is for you and you love it, great. You know, some people, it's like, instead of going to the movies, I spend my extra cash at the bingo parlor or whatever. So, each his own. Let's just put it that way. And it's, it can be fun and enjoyable for those who like it. So I'm not gonna, like I said, to each his own. So, yeah. So thanks for asking about that. And yeah, if you do see things like that happening and it's obvious that they're breaking terms of service, please do report the seller, because we want those types of things under the correct category, so that it protects the seller and it protects buyers who then don't want to come back and shop on Whatnot if they feel like they got scammed. So please report it if you're in a show and they're doing that kind of stuff and they obviously shouldn't be, or they aren't doing it according to terms of service. So I'll just give you a few basic tips about that. If you're doing any kind of mystery or surprise, it has to be completely disclosed. It has to be in view of the camera at all times. So if you see anyone doing, mystery or surprise and they don't have it all laid out in the show notes, exactly what it is, and have this stuff in view of the camera the entire time, they are breaking the rules. So please report that. Okay. And go read it. Go read it. Go into frequently asked questions and type in surprise sets. Go read the whole terms of service so that you understand what you shouldn't be doing, because there's a lot of gray area where people don't realize, you can't like have a bag and say, oh, choose a bag and it's a surprise. Even just little basic things like that are against terms of service for that type of show. So if you don't have it set up exactly the way it's supposed to be and have it scheduled as a surprise set show versus an auction show. So when you schedule a show, let me just show you really quick. If you schedule a show, here's the show scheduling screen, right? One of the things that you have to choose in here is, whoops, hang on. One of the things you have to choose in here is what type of show it is. And so if I choose a category, then it comes up with this primary selling format. And you have to choose either auction, buy it now, or surprise set. So most of the time you're just going to choose auction, right? And then sometimes you might do if you do a buy it now show where you're only selling stuff out of your shop, out of the buy it now, including flash sales, you could choose that. And then that third option, that surprise set option, is what you would choose if you're going to do those. See what the description is? Bundles of products sold without the buyer knowing exactly what they'll receive. So if you're doing anything that could be described that way, your show needs to be in that category, in that selling format. Okay. All right. Let me get back in here so I can see that question that just popped up. Someone said to me, if I report anything to Whatnot, they change your algorithm and you won't be seen on the category pages you're working on. What? No, that's not true. Someone said if you report things to Whatnot, they change your algorithm and you won't be seen. No, that is not accurate information. Maybe they're trying to scare you away from reporting. So I'm going to copy that because that's cracking me up, actually. So yeah, if someone told you that, that's not accurate. Yeah, because you would not. They encourage people to report things that they see that are sketchy, because they want to catch things before something escalates into a customer service nightmare for them. So if you see shows like, I guess the other day, I didn't see any of them because I wasn't on, but there have been some shows where they're going live and basically, from what I could understand, they're going live and they have an item and they just keep running it over and over and over, trying to get people to bid, but then they also have people shill bidding, meaning dummy bidders in their bidding. Because they're trying to get some momentum going and get, 1,000 sales or whatever, but it's really obvious that there's no intention of them actually sending out anything because the same bidders keep bidding. Anyway, so if you see stuff like that and it's really fishy, it probably is. Report it. Yeah. Do they get away with it because they are a big seller? Well, if people keep reporting it, and if they do get warnings, and if you get too many warnings and you haven't fixed something, you'll actually get either temporarily banned or permanently banned. So definitely report it if you feel like, they're doing it against terms of service. But if they're doing it correctly and you just don't like it, just don't participate. Don't go to their shows, just don't participate. Because there are some sellers who are doing surprise set shows according to terms of service, and they're not doing anything wrong because they're following the rules. So don't report someone who's following the rules. So, but if you see someone who's running a show and it's under an auction, you can tell they've picked auction because they're just doing a regular show and then they start doing some, surprise game or whatever. That's probably not, and they don't have it all disclosed. They aren't putting it on screen, et cetera, et cetera. That's against terms of service. And yeah, when you report something, you're anonymous. They don't share, who reported it. That's why if you've ever gotten a warning for something, it's very vague. They don't tell you who reported you. They don't tell you even exactly to the T what it was per se. They just tell you, you violated this rule. And sometimes you have to go back and forth with them to ask them why you got reported. Yeah. So you're referring to the website we are told to go shop at. The website we are told to go shop at. Oh, if there's a seller who is advertising for you to go shop at a different website. Yeah, there's a fine line there. You have to, so sellers are allowed to have social media accounts and their own website. What they're not allowed to do is tell you to go buy it on the other website. So if they're directly telling you go buy it somewhere else, that's against terms of service. If they're telling you you can go follow us on, X social media or whatever, and not directly directing buyers to go buy something somewhere else, that's okay. So you can have your, on your profile, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Facebook, follow me on TikTok, whatever. You just can't directly advertise for them to go buy something on a different platform or a different website. Yeah. But I mean, inevitably that could possibly happen, but it's not that you're directing it directly there. That's what makes sense. So, yeah. And it is important if you're selling, please go read the terms of service. I know it's dry, long, boring reading, but at least be informed on the basics of what you should and should not be doing as a seller so you don't get yourself in trouble. One of the more common things I've been seeing lately that have been getting people in trouble is that you have multiple people in the same household using the same IP address, trying to sell on different accounts. Technically, you're only supposed to have one seller account in per, IP address. And if you want to, did we just get raided? Aw, thank you for the raid. from Vintage Chick. Thank you so much. Everybody give Vintage Chick a follow. Here is her profile. She's an awesome seller. And her next show is tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. Vintage playing cards. Oh my gosh. I've kind of been tempted lately to want to collect those. I have to like control myself because they're so fun to find vintage playing cards that have all these cool designs on them. So if you love those, make sure you go to her show tomorrow. And she's got some scrapbooking shows coming up, and of course, quilting, sewing, and she's got feed sack fabrics on the 6th. She always finds really good vintage stuff, you guys. So make sure you're following Vintage Chick and bookmark her upcoming shows. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Any other questions? Yes, there are some fabulous cards. How did your show go, Lynn? Last night. I didn't make it in there. Bert started feeling crappy and we had to go to the Instacare. And then by the time I got home and got my stuff shipped, it was midnight. So I didn't do anything but that. Take care of him and do stuff. So not the best, but not the worst. Okay, well, good. I'm just proud of you that you did it. How did your new iPad work out? Yeah, he's okay. I think he just got some weird little virus. They couldn't find anything. He just kind of had like the body aches and the chills. And so we had to go make sure he didn't have like the flu or something. When you get our age and you get a fever, you feel like you're going to die, right? He's a few years older than me. So I don't think so because this is something new. I don't know. I think there's just lots of crap going around, and he goes to the gym most mornings, and I swear he just picks stuff up there. I wish people would stay home if they're sick. So, yeah, it is scary out there. Morrow King. So, for example, if I wanted to have a seller account, my husband wants to also have a seller account for a completely different category, you can do it, but you have to be really careful because if you do anything against terms of service or he does anything against terms of service, it flags your IP address. And so that's what I was saying. You have to be really careful if you're doing multiple accounts in the same IP address because, it's considered, and you need to let them know. And you aren't allowed to have two seller accounts under your same email, your same person without specific permission. So, just be really careful about it because there have been people who, for example, they have an account, they're doing great, things are buzzing along, and then their, 20-year-old son opens an account, starts selling something, and then is not responsible, doesn't fulfill orders, gets banned, and then the whole IP address, they shut you the whole thing down because that's how they track it. So you've got to be really careful about multiple sellers using the same, IP address. Let's see. Yeah, it's protection for buyers because they don't want them to just turn around and open up a new selling account if they're a scammy seller. So yeah. Yep. Your neighbor just passed away. Oh, your neighbor just passed away from strep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We just have to be careful because he's got, I don't know if you've been following us for a while. My husband was in the hospital for almost 2 months about 4 years ago because his gallbladder exploded and he ended up with sepsis and it was not cool. So we're a little bit nervous every time he's, gets feverish or anything. So we're just, we always err on the side of caution and run in and get checked to make sure everything looks good. So fortunately, they didn't find anything. So they're like, well, it's just some virus going around. So hopefully, but he's already feeling better this morning. So yeah. Your neighbor was only 72. Ugh. We've actually had two neighbors pass away within the last like month. One was cancer, but she got diagnosed with I think it was pancreatic cancer in late December, and she passed away like 6 weeks later. It was super fast. Very sad. She was in her 70s. And then the other one was about my age. Um, he just blacked out, and his wife resuscitated him, sort of got the paramedics there, and they couldn't get him resuscitated. And they coroner said that he had a pulmonary embolism, where he had a blood clot in his lung. And it was just like boom. Did we get another raid? Oh, your aunt was pancreatic. Yeah, pancreatic cancer is scary because there's like not a lot of symptoms. Quilter's Garden just raided. Thank you so much. Here is Quilter's Garden. Vicky, her little backdrop cracks me up. That's how I feel most days. And well, not always, but. And her next show is tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Ruby Star, Riley Blake, and Jay Wecker Frisk. And then she's doing Lori Holt Fabrics on the 5th. Everybody give her a follow and bookmark upcoming shows. Thank you so much, Vicky, for the raid. Appreciate that. And hope everyone's having a wonderful Tuesday. My pancreas was removed because of pancreatic cancer. Oh, wow. So they did catch yours early enough to do that, huh? Well, that's good, because that's a scary one, because they don't always have a lot of symptoms until it's too late. Fabric Revival is raiding. Wow, you guys, thanks for all the raids. Fabric Revival, another fun, sweet seller. Here we go, Morgan. Thank you for the raid. Everybody give Morgan a follow. Her next show is on the 29th. Do you have one before then? Vintage and Estate Fabric. So maybe she'll have one sooner. She'll move up, huh? Thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate that. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome in. You got your first raid last night. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, you're going on a work trip to Florida. That's exciting. So you'll have to definitely do some fabric shopping while you're in Florida. Florida's a really good place to go thrifting and go stuff like that, and go to estate sales and yard sales, and you already have some lined up. Awesome. High five. Have fun. I'm jealous. I'm sad that I live so far away from places like that, but Arizona is pretty good, and that's where we used to live. So there's a lot of retirement communities in Arizona, so you get some of that same, benefit. People destashing, getting rid of stuff because they can't do it anymore or don't want to do it anymore or just need to downsize or all that good stuff. Well, we missed you, Tara. I mean, come on. You just come in and say hi, and then you're like silent. Dealing with stripe. Oh, well, that sounds fun. I think it's weird when sellers resell what they bought the day before from another seller. That is a little weird to see. Yeah, but you know what? It's going to happen, and it's okay. And we have a lot of husbands that claim that all we do is trade fabric around. And I was thinking about it one day, and I'm like, yeah, we kind of do a little bit. So it is what it is. Don't, maybe they got it and they're like, oh, this isn't what I thought, and they aren't going to use it. And so they sell it. It's the same difference as the Christmas present that you don't love and you regift it to someone else, or you sell it, or you donate it, or, right? We just kind of trade fabric around to a certain extent. um, yeah, but it is okay. It's okay. And I did have a seller or a buyer one time. I was in a show and I bought something, and I had a buyer like literally call me out and say, that's why I don't shop from certain sellers. And I'm like, whoa, I'm a buyer. I'm a buyer in this situation and I can buy what I want, you know, because I guess she was miffed that maybe she wanted it. And I'm like, hey, if you want something, this is an auction site. All it's all free for all. You can bid more if you really want something, right? But it does get sensitive sometimes. I get that, but if you really want something, it's all's fair in love and whatnot. You can bid higher. So don't get miffy if someone really wants it. And here's the thing that usually happens, right? Especially if it's a bigger piece of fabric, the person who wins it then says, oh, give half a yard to so and so, she wanted some too. How often does that happen, right? So just don't be the sour Sally in the show who's miffed because you didn't win. Just be the nice one that when you do win you share, or you're just happy you won, right? So yeah. Yes, I sometimes run things at a loss too. So, you know, it is what it is, you know. Just play if you like being on Whatnot for all of the reasons that we all love it, kind of check yourself when you start going down that thought process. We're all here to enjoy, we're all here to find great fabric, you know. Let's make it fun. That's what it's supposed to be, you know? And yes, there are some sellers that don't, aren't as community minded. They're more focused on building their business. But honestly, the sellers who do the best and really build a good following are the sellers who are very community minded, support new sellers, support other sellers, help other sellers. Community really does make a difference. And from a buyer's perspective, don't you love when you see that camaraderie versus the competitiveness, right? So, I mean, that's my perspective. Maybe you disagree, but it is what it is. Yeah. So yeah, what goes around says exactly, I'll buy something, take what I want, sell the rest. Otherwise, I'd be drowning in fabric and going broke. Yeah, exactly. So if you do some of your sourcing on Whatnot, that's what you're doing. You see something, if you want some of it and you can sell the rest of it at a profit, great. Right? Yeah, so it's definitely a good subject to discuss. So don't be upset that I'm pontificating on it. Um, I just when you said that, I'm like, yeah, but remember, so yeah. Yeah, we need to build good relationships with everybody, and we can kind of share the wealth, you know. Yeah, for example, my friend isn't able to sell her Moda and she runs deals for me. Exactly. Because everybody has a different audience. So maybe you have a stash of something that for whatever reason doesn't sell well for you. Sell it to someone else who can sell it well, get rid of it, and then use that money to buy something that sells well for you. Because everybody kind of has different vibes of who likes to come to their shows and what types of things that you sell and that you love, and I think it really helps too to be passionate about what you sell. And if there's a brand of fabric that you're just like meh about it, but other people love it, pass it on to someone who's more passionate about it and is going to sell it better. That makes sense to me. So, yep. Yeah, I lose on Tula too most of the time because it's just not my vibe. Can I talk a little bit about sourcing and how to get started? So I can to a certain extent, but that is one thing that sellers have to hold close to the vest, because if you have a good source, you don't want to reveal it too much or it gets ruined. But here's what I usually tell people. Your best sources are what is closest to you all day long. What is closest to you? What you already have is number one. If you're here on Whatnot buying fabric or selling fabric, you already have a ton of fabric. Organize what you already have. Go dig out what you already have, and you'll be shocked that you didn't even remember you had a bunch, right? So get yourself organized. Go into your wherever you have your fabric and start sorting it. Come up with some, you know, think about how other people do their shows and do some kind of sort and get it a little bit organized, and especially go through and go, okay, these are all the things I definitely am willing to part with. Start with that. That could be your first sort. What am I willing to part with? If I can make some money on this, can it go bye-bye? Right? And then your next best source is your friends, your neighbors, and your local yard sales, thrift stores, estate sales, things that you can go to that are within your community so that you don't have to pay shipping. When you start sourcing other ways, it starts to get a lot more expensive and more time consuming and more risky. Because if you can see it and you can touch it, you know what it is, you can smell it, all those things, then it's a lot less risky, right? You're not putting out a bunch of cash for things that you aren't 100% sure about. So that's what I always tell people. Start local. Start to the closest, which is your own stuff first, and then reach out from there. And you can do, see, Maro King says, yes, I don't have quilt shop quality vendors where I live, and also no estate sales. So another really good resource is Facebook Marketplace. So in your local area, people will list things for sale. It's kind of like, virtual yard sale. They'll list things for sale. So search in your local area for things people are listing. Estate sales, just selling their own personal stash, that kind of stuff. Because that's local to you, within reach, within drive, I can see it, I can touch it, I can verify that it's legit. You'd still have to be careful with Facebook Marketplace because there are scammers out there, but don't pay in advance. Go touch it, see it before you pay. Okay. Let's see. Southern Up says, I do random raids and it's getting me familiar with other sellers, but love that the more crafting people and sewing people I see. We just got another raid from Oh So Cheap. Thank you so much for the raid. Let me get you followed. So Oh So Cheap is it Sherry or Cherie? And she's a new seller, 97 items sold. Can everyone give her a follow? New seller, busy working moms with side hustles. And she sells items she inherits. See, there I was talking about the close in, right? Everybody has too much crap. Find the people who have the crap close to you that they're getting rid of, not crap. I mean, I say crap loosely, right? It's good stuff. All right, so Oh So Cheap has shows scheduled, and you can bookmark them. So please go in and give Oh So Cheap. Thank you. This is a seller chat, Oh So Cheap. So if you have time to stick around, we're talking about selling on Whatnot. I'm Dana, aka Draz, and I do this little walk and talk seller chat, seller help every Tuesday and Thursday morning. So you're welcome to join, ask questions, get help. And let me point out a few things. So in my shop, if you tap the shop button, I have 19 items in there that are just things for you to click on and read through and screenshot to get help on all those topics. So make sure you check that out. And also the show notes. Take a screenshot of the show notes. Denise says, I've been trying to ask about giveaways. Should a new seller do them on first show? Follower giveaways are important when you're new to help you get followers. But be careful about how you do them and how many you do, because you don't want to do too many and it like kills your profitability. But there is a way to do inexpensive giveaways using first class mail. You can send small flat items like stickers, embroidered patches. I send little bookmark kits. You can send a smaller piece of fabric like little swatches, anything that's flat and can go in a paper envelope. So those only cost you 74 cents usually to send. Let me pin the instructions for how to set that up. So I just pinned that, just tap that, tap it again, make it big, take a screenshot. This is how you set those up so that you can do the inexpensive giveaways. Followers don't necessarily mean they shop. That is correct. But the statistics show that even if a follower does not or wins a giveaway and does not buy in the first show, statistically, I can't remember what the stats are, but it's more than 50% will convert to buyers. So it is pretty high enough that it's worth, doing what you can afford to do. Buyer giveaways help you reward your buyers and can be less expensive to give because most of the time just buyers will win it and you don't have to pay the shipping because they already paid their shipping through the things that they bought. But you have to be careful with buyer giveaways also. If you do really nice, expensive things, you will have people that try to come in and fill out the form and win your buyer giveaways. So you kind of have to decide what works for you. In the fabric community, we don't get a lot of givey goblins in our regular shows because we're a very niche category. So I would say we don't have like people coming in, filling out forms, trying to win the fat quarter you're going to give away. And you can also draw buyer giveaways faster than the 5-minute wait time to ensure that your buyers get the giveaway. So, yeah. And we do have, occasionally that will happen, but it's not as often. So I found a pretty happy medium of what works for me. I would say experiment with it, figure out what works for you. I do think it helps to get followers to do giveaways. And if you watch some of the bigger sellers, they do giveaways pretty constantly. Why? Because of that and because it keeps people in your shows. If you can afford to do nice little giveaways throughout your show, it will keep people in the show. Yeah. So it's part of a business expense, an incentive to keep people in. Yeah. And like it, swipe it, goblins welcome. Yeah, if someone, I have a lot of people who come to my shows very regularly who really don't buy a whole lot, but and they win giveaways. And I'm okay with that because they do sometimes buy and I want them in the room. You want as many people in the room as you can get because statistically only about 10 to 30% of the people in your room are going to be buyers anyway. You want them all, whether they're buying or not. You want them in the room, watching, interacting, commenting, entering your giveaways, all those things, because algorithms love a crowd. Exactly. So get them in there, do giveaways to the extent that you can afford to do them. Be smart about how you do them, and it can help, build your audience, build your shows, build your business. So just be smart about it. Yeah. But, you don't necessarily have to start out big like a bigger seller doing, hundreds of giveaways every show. That doesn't make any sense when you're new trying to, you know, build your business and be profitable. So do what works for you. Brittany says, sometimes I am one of those people. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind, honestly, who wins my giveaways. I want everybody to be there. And like I said, I have people come to my shows often who really don't buy all that much. But if they want one of my little bookmark kits or embroidered patches or whatever I'm giving away, great. I'm happy to send them some happy mail. It actually makes me feel good that they're going to get something in the mail that might brighten their day, right? Because if they can't afford to shop, their life's kind of probably not the greatest. So sending them something in the mail that could brighten their day, give them something to look forward to, I'm all down for that all day long. So yeah, we've all been there. Yeah, they're window shoppers and it's great. It's great. We want them all there. And honestly, you should be creating an environment where they all feel comfortable being there, because then on the days when they can afford to buy something, they're going to buy from you because you make them feel good about being in your shows. Right? So, yep, everybody's welcome. And yeah, we all have window shopping days. And sometimes we keep our hands out of the store successfully, and other days we fail. So, yeah. So, yeah. You have no restraint. Yeah, I'm getting better at it, but I had, let's just say, Whatnot has a lot of my money from the last few years. So it's a good thing that I'm successfully selling too, because otherwise I would be completely broke. So, yeah. It's hard to control yourself, and that's the thing I think people need to grasp. And when you come onto Whatnot, you have to do some really hard reality checks and learn how to control what you do. So, be careful if you have that kind of personality where things are addictive easily. Do put things in place to make sure you can control it. So, yeah. Cindy said, on my last show, Whatnot started charging me a little for shipping on 4 of buyer giveaways. I did 12 buyer giveaways on that show. Well, it depends on how much they buy before they win the giveaway. So if they only bought like a fat quarter and then they won something and you had it under, a higher weight, then you would get charged a little bit of the shipping because they only paid the base rate And then if your giveaway was 4 ounces and they only, bought a 1 to 3 ounce item, then there is going to be a little bit of a charge for the shipping because, it has to charge based on the weight. Brittany says, I often buy more than I don't. Sometimes I just have to put myself on restriction because I have no restraint when it comes to pretty fabric. Yeah, exactly. We all feel you. We are all there with you. We all know. Exactly. We all know. So, yep, it is true. Let's see. Let's see. You can get hit with adjustments. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you can also get hit with adjustments, but you can use your free 5 adjustments a week if for some reason, you have to unbundle or do a different type of packaging. So, but yeah, you do get a little bit of charge on a buyer giveaway if they only bought a small item and then your item was higher. So try to do lower weight items for giveaways. That helps too. Because there's still a lot of nice things that you can give away that don't weigh very much. You can give away fat quarters. Those you can put in at 1 ounce. You can do things like a pattern, a quilt pattern, a nice little postcard quilt pattern, or one of those, like little 8 by, or not, they're not even 8, 5 by 7 quilt patterns that don't weigh much. Those are a nice giveaway. People love those. So find things that are lightweight for giveaways that you can put in at 1 ounce, and then it's just going to bundle it with what they already bought. So that envelope shipping is pinned. Just tap. So it's pinned right here. Just tap the picture, tap it again, and then take a screenshot of that. I need to do a newer version of that. It's kind of just a big, ugly, boring document, but it goes over all the basics. And if you're looking for sticker used to be its own category. They've moved it under arts and crafts. So if you're wondering what happened to the category of sticker, that's where it is. So when you're putting in an item as a giveaway that you're going to send in an envelope, it needs to be under the category of either sticker or trading card. And they moved the sticker category under arts and crafts. So that will help. So do lightweight stuff. Use the envelope shipping for your follower giveaways. Do lightweight things you can send. I mean, you can send like a little pack of, cut up some scrap fabric you have that's cute into little 2.5-inch squares and send them a little set of 10 2.5-inch squares that you can send in an envelope that are something really cute, or hexagons. Do some hexy paper, little hexy paper piecing papers. Everybody's into that right now. Do some, just little things that quilters love or sewers love. Kits. I do the bookmark kits. Please don't copy me. That's my thing. Because I don't want to have to come up with a new thing. But they love those. I send them 3 squares of fabric, a square of interfacing, and the instructions to make the bookmarks. Come up with something similar to that that's a little kit that you can send them in an envelope. So, just something cute that you've got one. They're fun, right? And it's a nice little giveaway. It's a little project someone can make in 5 minutes because it's already all cut out. So, do stuff like that. Yeah, lace is a good one. Send them, a little yard of lace that can just be folded flat. The there's all kinds of things that you can come up with to do. For a while I did car air fresheners, the little wafers that are car air fresheners that are come in plastic. You can pick them up for really cheap, and you just fit in an envelope and they get a nice little car air freshener. So yeah. Yeah, I do fat quarters for my buyer giveaways, but a fat quarter does not fit in a flat paper envelope. So those are tough to do as follower giveaways, and you can't ship them in an envelope. It's too thick. But you can do little squares of fabric. My friend Lovely Pinto makes the super cute little fabric stamps where you take muslin and cut out a cute fussy cut a little design, do the heat and bond on back. They peel it and iron it on when they get it. They are so cute. So yeah, but it's got to go in a paper envelope to get that envelope shipping rate, which is the 74-cent one. So you're successfully sending fat quarters in envelopes. I just feel like they're too lumpy and bumpy. Because if it's not machinable, then it will get sent back to you or go to the customer postage due. Okay, so you're taking a risk. 2 out of 100 have had an issue. Yeah, that's true. The fabric matters. Yeah, I don't like to have that issue, so I shy away from that. But I do send little squares. I do send those bookmark kits. Those have been fine. Yeah, because it's got to be less than 1/4 of an inch thick. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here today. Is everyone having a good day? Do you have any other questions that you need me to address? Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. How do you decide, Shelley? Sorry, I missed this. How do you decide the weight limit for your show so you don't end up with a bunch of shipping? I'm not sure what the typo was in there. So you don't end up pasta bunch of shipping yourself. Well, there's not a specific weight limit are you talking like weight limit per package? I don't know. You're going to have to be a little bit more specific there, Shelley. So you don't end up paying a bunch of shipping. There we go. That makes more sense. So here's some tricks and tips about that. Depending on how you organize your things as you're selling, you can kind of gauge how much people are buying. And if you get to a certain point where you more than a large flat rate, you start winding it down and you end your show because you're like, okay, this was the kind of show where 5 people bought everything, and it's going to start costing you. So then you can kind of wind it down and finish. But there's some tricks about how to pack fabric. So take a large flat rate box, tape the bottom, and turn it upside down on your table. And then you take your fabric and you stack it on top of the box exactly to the dimensions of the box. And then you take a large plastic bag, which you should be sending your fabric in plastic. I know there's some sellers who don't, and I think they're nuts. If it gets wet, it gets ruined. Put your fabric, slide it all into a bag, and then press the air out. It's already to the dimensions of the box, and you can fit a lot. I mean, I think I fit in quilting fabrics. I don't know the exact yardage, but I can fit like 20, 30 pieces of fabric in a large flat rate box. So, and you can even suck the air out by sitting on it. I call it the boob squish. I have it on a table. I, lean over on it, press all the air out, tie it, seal it shut. But you do have to use, a decent plastic bag that will hold up for that. So yeah. You can also use poly mailers instead of boxes and use priority instead of flat rate. So turn flat rate off. As long as it's still under 5 pounds, it will still ship priority, or you can flip it to ground advantage. But if you had your settings set for flat rate, then it will, charge you extra if you flip it to ground advantage. But you can flip it to ground advantage and pay, either pay or use one of your 5 exceptions for the week. Okay. I almost never, seriously, 100%. I don't remember the last time I had to pay anyone shipping. I strategically know, how to do the shipping, how to put things together, how to curate a show so that I'm not going to have to pay shipping. And we rarely use all of our 5 exceptions a week. It resets every Sunday evening. You get 5 exceptions for the week, and then it resets. Okay. Yes, regular ground advantage shipping does get delayed with bad weather. I try to do mostly priority flat rate or priority because I want my customers to get their stuff fast. Of course, if they buy less than a pound, it's going to go ground advantage. There's no, option for that. So, yeah. This is probably off topic, but is there any way to view past chats from your show if we have missed questions or need to answer someone? No, sadly, the only way that you could possibly get that is if you screen record your shows. But that would get really it takes up memory. It's like creating a video. So if you have a 3-hour show, you would have a 3-hour video saved on your phone, and that's, you could view it and then delete it. But that's the only way to have chat, is just screen record your show. I want to sell personal items and be considered a business for tax purposes. Well, anytime you're selling, technically you're a 1099 business. So it's just a matter of how much you sell. Oh, am I cutting out still? Can you guys hear me? I'm not cutting out, so it must have been hers. Okay. So not on my end. All right. So yeah, you just it just depends on how much you sell, and then that's when the government considers it more of a business. So you just have to make sure you have a CPA that knows how to do small business filing. That's really important. Not all CPAs are the same, you guys. Make sure that when you hire an accountant that they have experience doing 1099 small business tax filings. If they haven't done that, find a different tax accountant. Because you need someone that knows how to do that. Because there's a lot of intricacies with that, with taxes. I haven't heard that rumor, Vintage. So I will ask, but I haven't heard that rumor. So I don't want to say anything about it and get people riled up. How much do you have to sell to get a 1099? You know what? It changes every year, but I think it was, for a while, it was $600. Is that still the limit? Does anyone know? But I think Whatnot won't send you one unless you made over even more than that automatically. They sent an email that tells, I don't remember what it said. So go into frequently asked questions and type Stripe mid-January, go check your junk and spam to make sure you didn't miss it. So go into your junk folder, and if you have yours set for 30 days, it might already have disappeared, but you can go to Stripe, log into Stripe to find it as well. But if you don't get a 1099, you just use your analytics that are here on the app to show what your sales were. And you can use that, just print that out to give to your accountant or to do your taxes. All right, I need to wrap things up. Does anyone have any other questions? Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see. Lynn says, I have my kit sitting on my end table beside my chair, just waiting for a quiet Sunday afternoon to make it. Oh, your bookmark kit. Yes. Nice. Let's see. Like It Swipe It gives away about 10 fat quarters a show, you guys. If you need some fat quarters, go to Like It Swipe It shows. There you go. As a seller, does it have to be as a business or can you sell as an individual? Yeah, you can sell as an individual for sure. Denise Barr's first show is today. Oh my goodness. Everybody follow Denise Barr. Here's her first show. Denise, before you have that show, so I just bookmarked it. Before you have that show, go get some more shows scheduled so that people have a show they can bookmark. So that it doesn't, you don't miss out on that opportunity to get more bookmarks. So if you're still here, please get some more shows scheduled so that people can bookmark those upcoming shows. All right. You are so welcome. Thanks for being here, everybody. Give Denise a follow. Everybody give her show, her very first show, a bookmark, please. So that was Denise. Let me pull it up again one more time. Denise Barr right here. So we can support a new seller. And yeah, I'm gonna, if she's not still here, I'm gonna message her and say, get another show in there so that we can, so you'll have one people can bookmark. She looks like a sweet lady. All right. Let me go find someone. Oh, who was here when I raided last Thursday? That was embarrassing. Be careful about your raids, you guys. I was trying to go into a community show and I ended up with some lady who was in the parking lot at her work. She had gone out to her car to go live to talk about some grievance. And when we raided her, I guess she has a thing about when she gets raided, she twerks for the audience. Oh my gosh. That was embarrassing. Yes. She got out of her car in the parking lot and was talking about how there was a camera on the outside of the building. And she was like, I don't know if I can do this. And then she turned around and twerked to the camera. She had the camera on her steering wheel. I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Everyone's going to unfollow me because I raided into this lady who twerked. Yeah. So, okay, you weren't here. Good. I didn't have very many people left in the show when I raided. So I was like, oh, Southern upset. I did do a random raid with a sweet older lady that had no idea what to do, but I felt bad. Yeah, those I don't care. But this one I was just like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding. It was pretty bad. So I was just kind of like, and and so I was just like, oh, have a good day. Hope you're feeling better. Because she was apparently just going live to rant about something from work. But she had scheduled it under community as if she were doing a seller chat. So I'm like, oh, okay, we'll go there. Nope. Check first. That was my bad. I should have checked first. It was hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty funny. I guess, chalk it up to one of those. All right, learning experiences. Yep. All right, let's go find someone to raid in Fabric. It will be a safe raid because I can tell in here who is safe. Like, for example, Kinetic Lace. We're going to go raid. She's an awesome seller. Love her. She's very talented and makes patterns and kits and also has amazing fabrics always. So we'll go raid Kinetic Lace. Hope to see you later. Have a wonderful day, everyone. See you soon.